Good to see everybody again. Okay. Hi everyone. Nice to see Kostya también. Great to see you, Kostya. Chess Dojo present. This was from last time. Very quickly, we looked at the game Carlsen versus MVL. MVL versus Carlsen. Yeah, hi, Patriots and Racer and Sarthak. Are we going to have thematic tournament? We will. Sorry, Sarthak, I'm going back to the previous topic. We talked about MVL versus Carlsen, and we were saying that Carlsen shouldn't have played Queen D2. He shouldn't have traded the queens, but it was a rapid game, and he must have felt that this was the right course of action here. What we looked at last time, I'll bring up the variation very, very quickly, okay? Because we already saw this, no? We already saw this. I'm just making some mistakes here. Give me just one moment, okay? I'm doing it right now. Be a little patient with me, please. And we will check your knowledge and your skills in this sense, how to keep up the fight here with the white pieces. I will give you only 30 seconds because this is the last time. Can we have one on Halloween? I don't think there is any class Patriots on Halloween, if I remember correctly. I had his instructions. So how did this go? Yugoslavian Berserker and Racer, you were fastest. Congratulations. Rook D1, we said that, lost the crucial tempo, and we should not do that. More winners here: Dada, Apple, John, Sam, Nicole, Brian, Chess Crusher. A lot of people remember this. Some kind of prophylactic thinking. MVL understands that there will be a rook and bishop endgame, rook and bishop versus rook and bishop. We need to bring in the king. Ararat, hello, Lily, Fianchetto. We have more winners. Let's pick one student here. We will pick Nicole. Please go ahead, Nicole. You noticed White's sneaky move here. Go for it, Nicole. A3. That's very hard to see this move unless we have understood that after the more natural line like this, Black would walk in the king, and we would have big difficulties improving our king because there is e3 check coming if we go to b1, right? E3, very annoying. We would have to help our king in some other way. We discussed that White would like to do this. However, Black's king would be faster, right? That's what we talked about last time. So basically, MVL perhaps looked at this and he understood that we would need a better version of this endgame, and that's why he started with a very clever move, a3. Black took, they brought the rook to d2. Please go ahead, Nicole. It makes use of the tempo, exactly. King a2 comes now, we're getting ready for our key plan. Carlsen tried bishop e6 to keep the white king away, and here came the difficult move. It looks like a silly move, right? It looks silly to play king c1, but hey, they're just going to play rook c2. However, Nicole and everyone else has noticed that after king b1, there is actually the threat of bishop d1. So black can't really just walk in the king or something. I think in the game, Carlsen played something like that. And do you remember still, Nicole, what happened after that? We talked about different types of endgames, no? That the rook endgame, rook endgame usually means higher chances for a draw. I'm just writing it here for everybody to understand. Bishop d1, very clever move after bishop takes. Rook takes, black, I think they tried in the game rook h6, and MVL went for active defense by means of which move, Nicole? We're waiting. Rook d7, exactly. And later on, he brought up the king also, and he made a draw. Nice. We say goodbye to MVL, but we will certainly come back in the future. But it's good to see how strong he is in the endgame. Keep that in mind when you check his games. He's always in it for the endgame battle. He's very creative in the endgame. So, all right, we will turn the page, and what we will do now is we will have two classes about the Carlsbad structure, Then we will have, there will be a thematic tournament. Then a thematic tournament on chess.com, right? On chess.com. I will help you a little with the instructions. Now you can prepare for this tournament. You can see it in Greg's Excel sheet and so on. I will start by showing you the initial position, okay? Because you can pick different positions. When it comes to the Carlsbad structure, you could rise at the Carlsbad from many openings, right? This tournament, okay, I'm repeating the information, Patriots, okay? We have today and next Thursday, we are gonna study of the Carlsbad structure. And then we have Thursday. Let's say who is good with mathematics here. If today is the 3rd of October, if we do 3 plus 14. I think we get 17, right? 13, Thursday, 17th of October. That will be practice, okay? That will be thematic Carlsbad tournament, okay? Carlsbad tournament. And then 24th of October, we will do like last time review of the games that you would like to look at, okay? Everyone understands? Don't miss the tournament. Whatever you do, you miss today, miss next week, but don't miss the tournament. And try to be there also for the review so that we can see your games. That's 2 days of my birthday. Okay, you can give yourself a nice birthday present then. So, anyone, tell me, how can we? I will miss the tournament. I'm very sorry for you, Ken King Sam. There must be something very important in your life then. How can we reach the Carlsbad? When is the tournament? Oh, people can't read. Mets and Mortis, that's why you have the chat. Just read, read, read. Use your eyes, please. How can we reach the Carlsbad structure? Anyone, tell me? Yeah, thanks, Patriots. Aha, October. Happy Pond says Queen Gambit declined, London Caro-Can. That's a very good start. Exactly. If we go step by step, if you take the Caro-Can, this is one way where you can get the Carlsbad like this, right? This would be the Carlsbad. I would say it's actually like a reversed Carlsbad. It's black who is playing the Carlsbad structure in one way or another. It's a reversed Queen's Gambit, no? What you have here. The Carlsbad structure, this is from black's perspective. But if we take it from white's perspective, by the way, in the London also you can get it from white's perspective. Now, if you play the London, let's say black plays something like that, very, very often you will get it in the London. And the computer likes it now. That's maybe why it became so popular. No, if you played something like this, for instance, and if black takes, here you go again. Again, I would say it's black who has the Carlsbad. No, reversed Carlsbad, you could say, or call it whatever you like. For me, Carlsbad, the one who can do the minority attack, that's the one who is ruling now in the Carlsbad. But safe to say, engines like this, no? Engines like this very much, like this very much with white, no? With white. They like it with white, Happy Pawn, I think. Also a little with black, but more with white. And I think that's one reason why the London is so popular. You have seen Erigaisi even plays it with h4, h5. Interesting, now this kind of combination of computer ideas. But what I wanted to say also, the real Carlsbad, you would say it comes up in the Queen's Gambit, especially in the Queen's Gambit exchange variation like this. So I have noticed that the Queen's Gambit declined has become more and more popular. When I was your age, for instance, what would people play back then? They would play the King's Indian, they would play Benoni, things like that. No way, says Stockfish. I don't like King's Indians, I don't like Benonis. So all these kinds of variations, they have become increasingly popular. In my opinion, it's because simply computers, they like this structure. They like this from black's perspective. They like the Carlsbad. White does not have a space advantage. Something about it that they like, right? I think that's the modern tendency, and that's why you have also these openings, like the line with the A6. I don't know what name you have for it, but like when you play like this, all these lines. Engine likes the queenside majority. Yeah, maybe Pappy Pond. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but maybe. I mean, this would also be if you played something like that. Sorry, maybe I messed up the move order, but something like this, right? He likes this kind of stuff, the computer. He likes it. The move A6, he will say it's good. Once white starts the minority attack, we have already A6 in, right? Like if white plays a few more moves, like let's say you play. I think I messed up the move order. Yeah, sorry about that. But okay, let's say black doesn't find bishop there. They play something like knight f6 and you play bishop here. And even if black forgets to develop the bishop, even then this would be kind of nice for black. In my opinion, it's an easy position to play. The moment when white goes for b4, you have a6 in already, right? It's a useful move. B4 is a good plan, of course. We will come to that. I just wanted to give you like a short intro about where do you get the Carlsbad. So the position that we will use for the thematic tournament, it comes from this line. I was trying to find a good position, something which would be more or less equal to give you equal chances with white and with black. And what I came up with was this variation that Sarana, former European champion, is playing. This will be your starting position. Please, everybody, pay attention. Now, this will be our starting position in that tournament. Aha, Serbian player. Well, I mean, he's Russian in the beginning, but now he's representing Serbia, right? Please notice this. Take a photo, whatever you like. This is the position that you will play. Black's last move is c6. From here, do whatever you like. I will, of course, help you, and we will talk a little about plans and so on for both sides. But this is where we will start, okay? Everybody understands? Yeah, you still have the pawn, Nicole. Yeah, sorry about that. So let's talk briefly about the plans here. Anyone tell me a plan with white? Mm-hmm. Thanks, Razor. You were very fast. Typical plan, rook b1, b4, b5, minority attack. Exactly. I won't even write it because you are doing that. If we play a few random moves here, let's say we play e3, let's say black plays like that, we put our bishop here. Maybe we don't want to let them play bishop g4, we play h3, they play knight e7, you would put your knight on f3. Please notice, minority attack, knight is best on f3. Now knight f3 goes best. Knight f3 goes best with the b4 b5 plan. Okay, black plays something here. Maybe we play this first. We don't have to think about knight e4. Black plays some move like that. This would be basically a good occasion to go for the minority attack. Rook b1. Try to play b4 b5. Once we reach that situation, we are about to trade off the pawns and leave black with a weakness. Right? If black just plays like not doing too much, if they play something like this, everybody understands. If they take, we can take back, and suddenly we have two weaknesses that we can work on even until the end game. If black plays something like b6, anyone tell me a plan for white in this structure? Exactly, Mecha Mortis. Thank you very much. We have a new minority attack. You could get this new minority, 1 versus 2, right? So that in the very end, we will be able to, I don't know, we'll make a few moves here. It's hard to do this just moving like that, but I'm doing my best now. Sooner or later, you will play a5 and you will fix weaknesses. All right? That's plan number 1, the minority attack. What can black do against the minority attack? Let's talk very briefly. Usually, we say that we should play a6. We should let white go a4 and b5. The reason is that if we don't do that, well, if I play, I mean, this is a better move, of course, than rook d8. But I will play my silly move just to make my point. If you later on play something like that, white has two weaknesses to work on, right? This and that. You can send maybe the queen to attack and so on. I think you guys, you know all of this already. Knight a4 says King Salmon Race. So yeah, everybody knows this, but it's not bad to refresh our memory, right? So if you have included a4, a6, I mean, this means that when white goes for, if we just play the same silly moves, this is a very silly move. Yeah, please remember this, or please notice this is not making sense. But here, on the other hand, you would only have one weakness to work on, so, or one weakness to defend. So usually we say one weakness, it's not that serious. No, we can defend this endgame, although it's a little boring. But of course, you will say black can do other things. One thing they can do, of course, is to really focus on the king side. Play something like queen a7, and maybe we include a6, and then we play anyone. Active move for black. Sorry, I was not even looking in the chat. Exactly, Oski, we will play knight e4. This is important to understand. In the Carlsbad structure, the side who is playing against the Carlsbad structure, they will always try to use the e file. Compare if you have the Caro-Kann. We talked briefly about the Caro-Kann, right? Reversed colors. How does the mainland go here? Well, something like this. I'm trying to remember the best I can. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm doing what I can. Something like this. You put the knight here. I guess some of you play this stuff now. Sometimes black trades off. They put the bishop there. Castles, castles. And white will try to bring the rook to e1 and play knight e5 and send the pieces to an attack. Something like that. You see, this would be the basic plan for white. I know that. Yeah, you're right. Some of you were probably saying this, that it's better to put the queen on d7. Yeah, this was back in Fischer Petrosyan's days. Yeah, nowadays they have understood that you can. I think you can do something like this, right? Bishop d6, and if they take, there is something with, yeah, some counterplay on this side or something like that. You have to castle first. Anyway, so exchange Caro more boring than listening to science teacher. I don't think it's so boring, Patriots. And please notice the exchange Caro is basically it's the London now. It's the London. It's like you're playing black in the London, and you go for CD quickly now. Like you're playing versus Magnus Carlsen here, and Magnus Carlsen is playing something like this, and you play let's say C64. Here you go. It's basically the same thing as the Caro-Kann, right? Some minor details, but still it's the same thing. No, I'm just saying that white should try. Maybe now it's okay now. You can hear me now. I'm back. Okay, yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm not good with technology. Okay, so back to business. We're talking about the Carlsbad structure, right? So back to the game then. Back to the game. Sorry about that little technical issue. Coming back now. How stressful this. Where is the game? Here we are, right? Let's load this game again. So we're talking about the plans, okay? We're talking about the plans again. Coming back to this position. Now, your starting position, please remember, starting position, no? Starting position. So we said plan one is the minority attack, okay? Minority attack. We talked about this already, no? Attack. Sorry. Exactly. Thanks, Nicole. So we talked about that. E3, bishop d3, h3, knight f3, castles, queen c2, rook b1, try to play b4, b5. Yeah, we were talking about what can black do about it, okay? Let's check very quickly. Or maybe we start with bishop d3 first. We stop bishop f5, right? We should usually try to do that. Let's say black plays something like that. We will just do the same stuff again. I wanted to ask you, what can black do against it, no? Somebody said here a5. Yeah, a5. Exactly. We come to that, Racer. We come to that. Perfectly possible to play a5. Okay? Perfectly possible for black to play a5. Let's say we play a3. We just stick to the same thing. And we play d4. So basically, you got to this position. And what black can do, of course, they can play for an attack. That's what I was saying. The king side, yeah, we will come to the Pillsbury. The king side is black's court, right? That's where black is playing. So bishop takes, pawn takes, knight e2. You can feel free to go for an attack now. Bishop here, send the knight to h4. Try to attack in one way or another, no? Or maybe you would like to play in some other way. Basically, that's one good plan for black. Okay, to play in the center. Um, but another good, yeah, exactly. You can play with f5 also if you could get f5. That would be Pillsbury knight, no? Pillsbury knight for black. Right. On the other hand, the other nice plan that everybody knows about is the plan involving b5, right? Everybody knows about this plan. If black plays, let's say, slightly differently. Let's say black plays something like this. Knight f3. We play something like bishop e6. Aha, both sides play on their side. Yeah, exactly. If you do something like this, somebody is like changing their picture. Maybe we can stop doing that. If something like this happens, I'm just saying you can also, let's say I play something like that. Anyone, can you tell me a different plan with black here? Different plan with black? If we don't want them to play b5. Exactly, Brian, you're right. We can play b5. So this is a good plan to know about also. This is a good plan to know about. And we send the knight to c4. Yeah, good plan, no? Good plan to know about. Especially if a knight could reach c5, c4, right? Could reach c4. Sometimes what white can try to do, yeah, white could have tried to play like a4 and a5. If this won't happen here, right? Yeah, this square is weak. This square is weak, but it takes some time for white to get there, right? Knight e2. Maybe you could even play like a4 and you don't let the knight come to c5, right? Well, you can come to c4. You can come to c4 later on. So that's a good plan to know about. Then please notice, guys, these two squares, golden squares, golden squares in the Carlsbad, d3 and d6. Please notice this, important to understand that even, I know in some lines, if we go back a little, if we go back to the main line, lately there was this line. I don't know if somebody here plays this. When white plays the system with 92, they came up with this plan. They play 98 here. This is good to know. The 98 maneuver, 98 d6 maneuver. This became popular lately. And yeah, whatever white plays here, like say, we will send a knight to this square. So this is like a nice square to have the knight on that square. Yeah, what do they play later? I think they play something like that. And at some point, black can try to, like here, for instance, if you do this now, we can do the same stuff, right? Something like that. Here, I think if black plays b4, we will happily go b5 and we will send the knight to c4. I'm just saying this is like the, yeah, what would you say, like the octopus, this knight now. It's everywhere. It's like looking at all the squares. But also white can do that. Somebody was saying this here in the chat, right? You also have it in the Queen's Gambit Exchange. I think so, yeah. It's a typical plan. You can do it with white also. Like if you imagine something like this at yeah, when would this happen? Maybe not here exactly. If these bishops were traded, you could think of it, because usually the bishop stays here, right? But let's say, I mean, let's say black plays something like b5. Yeah, maybe you could reroute the knight to d3 yourself. No, you could play something like that, and yeah, I'm just improvising a little now, but you could play something like knight a4 and send the knight over, something like that. I don't know, something like this. But ultimately, you try to send the knight to d3. Okay, but now when we talk about this, it's important to understand that sometimes black can also play c5. So plan for white, we are saying two plans now. I hope this is not getting too boring now. I'm just trying to summarize a little the plan. So plan one, minority attack. Plan two would be to play in the center, right? To play in the center, something like put your bishop here, put your knight there, try to play f3 at some point. I don't know, something like this maybe. If they play bishop d4, you play f3, you try to put the queen, let's say, on d2, and at some point you try to play e4. Question, which, yeah, we will come to that, Patriots. Which world champion championed this setup? Anyone? Who used to play this? Anand. Well, maybe. But the first, oh yeah, I'm dropping a pawn here. Yeah, good point, good point. I actually lost the pawn. The pawn is falling. So that was a bad example. Sorry about that. Okay, I need some preparation. Now I will play something like, let's say, knight g3 first. I will play rook d1 maybe. And at some point I will play my move, no? Yeah, let's say you play like this, and I could actually try to play this, right? Something like this. Okay, I hope this was a better example. I think I keep track of my bot one. Botvinnik, thanks, Requiz. This is Botvinnik's plan. So Botvinnik would do this in the main line, right? Like this. Oh, sorry, bad move. Mouse flip. So Botvinnik, he would champion this setup, right? With e3 and the bishop on d3, and black would play c6, and knight would come here, and black would play like this. And you get a ton of games in this position now to play f3 and e4. So that's like the second plan that we can use. First plan, minority attack. Second plan, central expansion. No, central expansion. And that's what we will see in the Carlsbad's game very soon, in Sarana's game. Central expansion with e4. Okay? For this plan, please put your knight on e2. Okay? Not on f3, obviously, if you want to play like this. Please notice also in the Caro-Kann, you can do this now. In the Caro-Kann, if you face this with black, you can actually play something like this if you want to. And you can, for instance, put your bishop here, you trade it off, you put your knight on e7, and at some point you hope that you can go for e5. Okay, you refute tempi down, but it's basically the same plan. Yeah, a lot of exchange lines are similar. You're right, Patriots, exactly. Okay, third plan, it would be what everybody is saying here, the Pillsbury. So how would you get to the Pillsbury knight? Well, very simple, no? You would play, let's say black doesn't play this. Let's say they play something like that. You could play bishop d3, you could play h3, you play like that, and yeah, let's say black plays knight f8. Anyone? How can we do the Pillsbury here? Patriots, I will invite Patriots to answer this question. Please go ahead, Patriots. How do you do the Pillsbury here? Go for it, Patriot. We're waiting. 95, of course. No trades, says Patriots. No trades. Aha, bishop. Yeah, I would even go one step. It's better to go this way, right? Because even the g-pawn might come up. And when I play bishop d6, Patriots, you would play, of course, f4. Exactly. Okay, having said this, please notice that in the IQP structure, when you have an isolated pawn, you can almost get that structure, right? If you play c5 at some point. Please note it for black's plans, this is very important. Sometimes, exactly, back to the Pillsbury, sometimes black can break with c5. This can happen on many occasions, no? This can happen on many occasions. Black can try to play with c5, they accept the pawn, like here, for instance, that we were talking about, right? In this line. If white plays something else here, let's say white plays h3. Yeah, at some point, black can try to play c5. Yeah, I won't plunder that pawn, right? I'll do something else. I'll send my bishop to e6, let's say, like that. And white plays some move here. Let's say they abandon the idea of the minority attack. They play something like that. Yeah, at some point, for instance, when you feel that white is about to play e4, you can play c5. It's often good to play. It's often good to play c5 when they have played f3, right? Like maybe in the Nimso. Okay, anyone plays the Nimso with the e3? Anyone who plays this stuff? with white? Something like this. Here you can also get the Carlsbad, right? In the Nimso. How can you get an Nimso? Like here, like this, for instance. You can take, you play knight e2, you castle, and you get ready to play f3. And you try to play e4. What can black do here? Yeah, let's say we play one move here. Yeah, let's pick a move. a5 maybe to gain some space, let's say. If white now plays, let's say, a3, we go back with the bishop. If white plays f3, anyone, what would you play with the black pieces here? Anyone? c5, exactly, Petrus. The moment they have played f3, we're very happy to play c5. We don't play, let's say, c6, because then white can start pushing, right? They get exactly what they want. So we will try to put pressure instead and play c5, right? Now they cannot go e4 anymore. Obviously, if they take, they will have some troubles with this pawn. Most likely, they will not do any of those two things. They will continue developing, and black will probably be fine here. You can sometimes take, you can sometimes push, and so on. Okay, that's a little about the plans in the Carlsbad. What do I forget about saying? I think I said most things now. I wanted to go over this game with you instead of just talking. I think I'm done with the plans. Yeah, I think so. I don't have so much else to say. Please notice this, right? You can sometimes do this also in the Carlsbad structure. You can play c4 and you try to play b5. You can get a very entertaining fight if this happens now. e4 and b5, and yeah, hell breaks loose here on the board. E5 and white has, like we call it, competing majorities now. Both sides will push their pawns. Okay, what if black plays bishop f4? Yeah, good point, RKDK. If we go back to the very beginning, I had to choose some variation. I didn't want to do a thematic tournament on the Queen's Gambit. That's why I said, instead of playing the main line in the Queen's Gambit exchange with bishop d5, I said, we will play Sarana's pet line. This is what Sarana plays very much, and he's very successful with this line. So what if black manages to play bishop f5? Usually we don't play it this early because there will be some issues with queen b3 perhaps. So black would play first c6. So if you really don't want them to play that, you could play queen c2, of course. But else you can also play e3. If they play bishop f5, which is, I think, what Magnus Carlsen played in this game, you can challenge this bishop. You can challenge it in two different ways. You could either just trade it off like this, but probably black will have an easy game here. No, good, you could say good Carlsbad with for black now, solid now. Bishop d3. Oh, somebody's moving here. Bishop d3. Yeah, probably the best move to keep some tension. I agree. But I think there are a few other interesting ideas. One could be to play knight e2. You could play like this and send a knight over like that. And lately, there has also been this plan where you play with f3. They started playing like this also with f3, and there is even a plan where you push these pawns like this. Interesting plan, no? Kind of unexpected, no? This is the game. We're already in the game now. We're talking Sarana Magnus Carlsen. We saw this game some time ago. We saw this game on h5. We said this was a little suspicious, no? Main line here, I think, is bishop d6, and here Sarana likes to play g4. Very entertaining line. Very entertaining line. Play this if you like. Bishop here. Yeah, you don't take because then white will take back and these pawns can be used later. The king will always go to f2 here. Yeah, modern way of playing the Carlsbad structure, you could say. Bishop d6, Sarana goes knight e2, and after castles. Anyone? Which move does the chess engine like here? Of course, Chessart and Brian and Chester, they play h4 here. Then you try to take with a knight. The king will always hide here. This is Sarana's favorite line, and he's doing quite well in this line. G5, and he puts the king here. Yeah, like some kind of expert line. You send the knight here, the bishop goes there, and it looks kind of nice now. Chess engines, they just love it, no? Chess engines love gaining space, no? Love space. So this is probably slightly better for white, this position, if you want to play like that. But you don't have to play like that, of course. If you don't like it, if you feel it's too risky, you could also play. Let me come back a little. You could also play after c6, e3, bishop f5. You could also play with the simple move knight e2 if you like, bishop d3, sorry. You could play like that. For instance, there was one game, Sarana, he played with Grisuk. Sarana played bishop d3. The game went something like that. He did not like to play bishop d6. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe you could also play bishop d5 at some point. Somebody said also for the endgame. No, somebody said for the endgame. I forgot to tell you guys. If we go back in history, like 74 years, if we go back 74 years in time, I have not been here in 7 years. I will go back in time now. I'm 16. Yeah, you were certainly not born when this game was played. Kotov versus Paxman, this was in 1950, no? In 1950. I just wanted to tell you, no, this is White's dream endgame. Knights are smarter than bishops here, no? Famous endgame, you can find it in Cherysevsky's great book about endgame strategy. So anyone, what would White play here just for fun? I'm just quizzing you for the first move. I gave you only 30 seconds. Hint, it's not a rook move. It's not a rook move. I'm sorry, guys. No, Brian, you know your classics. Good for you, Brian. Excellent. Try to get this endgame, Brian, in the tournament. Knight c5. Yeah, you shouldn't do that now. He did that later, chess turnip. So Brian and HDI, you are the ones who know your classics here. Knight e1, interesting maneuver. King f1, use the king. Yeah, very reasonable. But the best move is the one that Brian and HDI are saying. Okay, very little time, but I just wanted to check if you knew this move. Aha. What about King G2? Yeah, Brian, tell us please. What does White play here? Please notice principle. Exactly, John Sam. Principle of two weaknesses. I think that's how this came up. No, why did he play that? Well, Kotov knows that it's hard to win the game just because of this pawn. So he's trying to create a second weakness. Question: which is the second weakness here? Anyone? What's that? Exactly, Nicole. It's h5. So there goes your question, Razor. What about King G2? I will play like this. This is my most solid pawn structure. No, f7, g6, h5. Good structure in the endgame. Okay, don't play the Dutch if you want to play endgames. No, I'm just joking. You can play the Dutch, but then you don't get this pawn structure. So you could play like that, Razor, of course, but it's not the same thing. If you include g4, it's way stronger because if they go h5, what would you play now, Brian? What was the whole point of this? Exactly. We will now trade and we can start working on our second weakness. Nobody said that we're winning, of course, but it gets interesting now. For instance, if you can move away the bishop from d6, then you can get this square and you can hit the knight, right? Anyone? I can ask somebody else here. Who is talking? Razor. Okay, Razor, what would you play here with the white pieces? Let's give Razor the move. You will block the pawn. Yeah, maybe you can play like that. Okay, Razor, I will play something. We should do a thematic tournament in this position also. I'll play something. I can't even find the move in black. It's hard for me to move. Okay, I'll just play something, Razor. So, tell us, Razor, how would you improve now? Yeah, I wouldn't touch so many pawns, though. Are you sure you want to do that? I can play like that, maybe? Black will lose anytime. Yeah, I don't like the move f3. Sorry to be so negative, but King d2, I like that move much more. Okay, I'll play this just to hit your pawn. Okay, you will have to defend it. Yeah, I would put my king on a dark square. Friendly advice, Razor, if the opponent has the dark square bishop, try to arrange your exactly king on the light square. Okay, Razor, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just waiting for you. Okay, so show us what you got, Razor. How can you start to work on the weakness? Yeah, interesting. I will wait for you. I'll make a waiting move. You see how my bishop is dominating Razor's knight, no? At least for now. Yeah, not impressed so far. Not impressed so far. Nice game to practice, by the way. There is another plan. Knight b4 says chess turner. Probably not here. Oh, you really like this move, f3. I don't like it. I'm sorry, Razor, to be so negative. Maybe I play something like that and I get counterplay. Right? Don't play that. Don't play that. Keep your pawn like this. I told you, it's a good structure. May I invite someone else? Someone else would like to try with white in this position? Quickly. Requiz says me. Requiz was fastest. Okay, where is chess turnip? Requiz. Okay, Requiz, I'm coming. Please continue, Requiz. Maybe you don't want to play h4. You don't want to put the pawn on dark square. Okay, Requiz, we're waiting. We're waiting. Quickly, 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 so that we can continue. Yeah, okay, I have mixed feelings. I understand you want to play 95. I wouldn't do that, though, honestly. Yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll play my usual boring move so I can kick your knight away. I don't like a4 either, yeah. Me. But e3 is weak. Yeah, e3 is weak. You're right, Happy Pounder. Maybe I can bring the rook and attack on this side also. I wouldn't play f4. Let me think a little. I could almost play c5, yeah, but it's a little risky. No, you can take and play rook a5 maybe. Yeah, what would I play with black here? So basically, everybody understands the knight is stronger than the bishop. Okay, I will wait for you. I'll wait for you then. Who is moving here? Can we do this as a game? Yeah, but I can't play with 50 people at the same time. I'm sorry. King f3. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Tournament. Yeah, we could do a tournament of this, but it's very boring to play black. It's better for a simul. You have the coach playing black and so on in every game. But we can't do that here. But I like your idea. I'll tell you a last plan. I'll tell you a last plan. Maybe some of you wanted to say that. A plan you can use here is this move. This move is very clever. You're trying to hit the bishop. No, you're trying to hit the bishop. If the king goes away, anyone, what would white play? Yeah, you can do a tournament on chessable, Racer. Of course, Oski, you're right. Okay, let's invite. Where is Oski? Oski, I'm waiting for you. Okay, go for it, Oski. What will you play here? The king moved away. We start working on the second weakness. Exactly. All right, Oski. I won't be that play that badly. I'll play like that. So, what's the benefit from this, Oski? I now moved away the bishop. Something like that. Exactly. Everybody understands. Oski is hitting my pawn. Unfortunately, this time, if I just play like that, Oski will take the pawn from me. Okay, maybe. You're right. Now you're working on 3 weaknesses. Yeah, good for you, Oski. I like your move. But for the rest of us who are very simple-minded, we will just play knight f4 right and take the pawn. But anyway, so people understand what's the point here of Pashman, or sorry, Kotov. Kotov played g4. He wanted to fix this weakness. And he went on to win this game in very nice fashion. I think Black played something else like that, maybe. He brought up the king. He created a new weakness. I think he later used the move knight c5 that some of you were saying. He sent the rook to attack like that. It was a very beautiful game. You should check it, guys. You should check it. So what's the original position? This one is the original position. So you see the knight, what would you say? The octopus knight. Now it's keeping track of everything. The bishop is not so strong. If you had this position, but you put the knight instead, I think Black has better chances. If you had this position, but if you had, for instance, this, I just want everybody to understand what you should look for. I think here Black is out of dangers. No, I would say knights are smarter in the Carlsbad structure. Everybody understands? The knight is very clever. It's a very useful piece. Black would love to keep the knight on the board. It's much better than the bishop is not that clever in this structure. Okay? We can agree on that. Back to our game. Carlsen's game. We have to check this. I'm talking too much. We should have a look at Carlsen's game now. So I'm coming back. We saw this game some time ago. Maybe you were around. So how did the game start? I will quiz you for the first 4 moves, okay? Or the first 5 moves. You're playing white. You have to play Sarana's line, okay? I'm very sorry, but today we will have to play Sarana's line. So here we go. You get 1 minute 30 seconds, okay? Try to reproduce Sarana's line. I'm sorry, Racer and Metzamortis, that's a different class. Not E4, please. Okay, nobody wanted to play like the game here. No problem, no hard feelings. Chess Art, thanks. HDI, Wish. We have a bunch of winners. Chess Turnip, Happy Pawn, Ryan, I want to go home. Exactly. Nice. If you don't have a weapon against the Queen's Gambit, you can look into this one. He got a very nice position in the game. Magnus Carlsen, by the way. Sarana versus Magnus Carlsen. So, okay, more people got it right. Yugoslavian Berserker. And many of you played other things. Yeah, good for you. Bishop d5, f4. Awesome Owen played f4. Yeah, if you play f4, Awesome Owen, you can forget about Carlsbad for now, or at least highly likely that you don't get the Carlsbad. Maybe in some mysterious way you can get it later, but usually you don't get it. Okay, so we random. We have another winner. You have managed to walk into Alexei Sarana's footsteps. European champion back in 2023. First board in the Serbian team, which did very well in the Olympiad. No, they were playing up the whole tournament. I think Serbia. They had some nice battles there. Okay, I'm just waiting. You remember I gave you more time now. C65, you can play that on move 3 also. You're right, of course. RKDK, that's perfectly possible also. Please go ahead, Happy Pawn. You can tell us how should white start the game if we want to play Alexei Sarana's variation, which is the one that he will play in the thematic tournament. So, okay. Normal Queen's Gambit. And after we fix the pawn structure, of course, Black will take with the knight, and you get a completely different pawn structure. No, nice game in the Chess Olympiad, by the way, from Israel. What's his name? First spot, Rothstein with white against Iceland. Check that game if you're interested. Rothstein versus what's his name? Stefansson in the Olympiad. Check that game, very nice in this line. He played this line with rook b1 and h4 and h5. Okay, another day we will talk about that. Please continue. Sorry, Happy Pound. Bishop f4, exactly. And then we play the typical move here, e3. Exactly. All right, let's get going. What happened in the game? They played in the game. They could have played bishop d6, of course, but in the game they played here bishop f5. Sarana played his customary move f3. At this point, Carlsen knew about his plan and he decided to play h5. But when this happened, Sarana said, all right, no g4 anymore. I will just go for the central plan. Like the Jobava, you would say. But in the Jobava, you have a pawn on c2, right? That's a different story. You're blocking your own pawn. So Sarana just said, all right, we'll trade off the bishops. Queen takes. Black played knight a6. Developing move. Maybe the knight can come here at some point. Should white waste the tempo on a3? Perhaps not. We can simply develop the knight. This is not really dangerous. We can just move back the queen. There came knight c7. At this point, Sarana already showed which plan he wanted to use. You get only 30 seconds. Tell me what you would play here. A hint, don't commit the king yet. Exactly, HDI, Sui, Brian, Duck. Oh, so many winners here. Let's see again. Brian, Duck, Oski, Razor, Owen, Turnip, Yugoslavian, Happy Pawn, Nicole, Vish, Request, Chessart, Fianchetto, Princess Unicorn, Metzamortis, Dal Apple, Sarthak, Ararat, RKDK, John Sam. Yeah, many winners. That's the second plan, right? But Phoenix plan. Please go ahead. John Sam, you were one of the fastest here. So please go ahead, John Sam. What did you play here with the white pieces? E4. The thing is that Sarana hasn't yet decided where to castle. That's why I think he played E4 first. Carlsen took on E4, pawn takes, knight E6. We saw this game in the past, Bangladesh versus Israel. No, I have not seen that match. Sorry, Kant King Sam. Question: should we keep the bishop or it doesn't matter? Anyone? Black just played knight E6. Move the bishop or we don't care. Okay, I will check that game. Thanks for letting me know. Nabati Hossein. Don't care, says everyone. Princess Unicorns, I think you found the right move. Please go ahead, Princess. What was the right move here? Sarana said, I'm so used to Carlsen being the winner. That's why I'm saying all the time. Sarana won this game. He castles here. White says, I don't need to think about the bishop. What we talked about last time when we saw this, the knight traveled 1, 2, 3 moves. And the bishop only traveled one move. So it's great. It's great to trade a less traveling piece for a more traveling one. Yeah, sorry about bad English, but I hope you mean what I mean. Yeah, black lost to Tempe, exactly. If you take, I take back. It's good business for me because you spent a lot of time on moving your knight. I only went once with the bishop. If I played like that, let's ask somebody. Chess Turnip, what would you play here, Chess Turnip, if I play, let's say, bishop e7? How would you punish me for this, Chess Turnip? Very easy now. The Botvinnik plan. Don't break my heart, Chess Turnip, not that pawn. The other pawn, please. I mean, this can be a good move also, but it's very non-intuitive, no? I would play queen d6 and maybe castle alone. Please, Chess Turnip, don't break my heart. Yeah, you can read what the people are saying. Use the other little guy, okay? Use the other one. You break up black's position here if you use the other pawn. Yeah, exactly, e5. That's nicer. No, that's a nicer move. It comes with tempo also. Yeah, I'm dead lost here already. What do you want me to play? 97. Just turn it. Exactly, Racer. Yeah, this is blind man can tell. Yeah, that's extremely beautiful. Bravo. Beauty prize. I didn't say that move. We all understand your pretty point here, right? Aha, mate in one. Exactly. Yeah, don't expect to get this in the thematic tournament, no, but just in case. I could only see the move e6, which I think is also quite promising. So, okay, Carlsen did, of course, not take the knight. He played the bishop. He played bishop e7. And here White played the move h3. He wanted to play e5, but I think he first wanted to see where Carlsen's king would go. So he played h3, always a good move. Keep the bishop there. We stop knight c4 and so on. After castles, now he said, I will go e5 after my last piece of preparation. At this moment, let's see how you guys develop the initiative with the white pieces, okay? You get 1 minute. Yeah, I'm doing it a little faster this time, okay? Because maybe we have time to see something more. So random, bravo, you have seen this game perhaps, or you're just extremely talented. You saw exactly what Sarana played in the game. Since black's king is on the king side and white has played the ugly move h5, we can start punishing them now on that side. Yeah, excellent. Okay, good work by Sui, RKDK, and John Sam, and the good moves also by Lily and so on. Many people found reasonable moves here. Aha, there is not just one solution here. We can play in different ways, but obviously, I want to go home. Good move. I want to go home. Doubling on the F file. We had more winners. Ararat Princess, also you found it. Please go ahead, Sui. You were fastest. How would we continue here with the white pieces to start an attack? E5. Now that the king settled on that side. Black plays 95. We don't want him to take back with the rook, of course. And now we go for an attack. You can see that the move, yeah, king h1. We will talk about it. The move h5 is wrong in this structure. We always praise the move h5 now, stockfish move, and so on. But this is one of the cases where it's not good. We're actually losing stability. G6. How will you continue here, Sui? Very quickly. Why is queen f3 not good? Okay, we will come to that. Yeah, something like that was the game. And now if rook c8, we can play your move here. Whoever said this, Mezza Mortis. Yeah, now we can play your move. It's killing now. It's killing. Right, Sui? Exactly. Hitting the pawn here, but certainly hitting the pawn there. Carlsbad played something else in the game. He gave up the exchange, but he went on to lose this game. You can see white is already better here. Okay, Lily wanted to play king h1 here. King h1. Yeah, I guess Carlsbad would play rook d8, and when you go e5, he plays 95, and he takes with the rook instead. Makes some difference, right? I have some pressure on the d file now. So I think that's why Sarana hurried to play e5, because he simply wanted black to take back with the pawn, closing the d file. Okay, convincing e5. Somebody wanted to play queen f3 here. Yeah, I mean queen f3 should be okay also. I guess what I can do here is I can give up one of the pawns. I could play something like yeah, how would I do that? Anyone? Piece of advice? It blocked me. Yeah, I'm thinking what to play here with the black pieces if you play like that. Could I play like this? Is this making sense? Or maybe it's a very silly move. I don't know. Computer, right? Play like that. Queen takes and rook d8. Yeah, I'm just wildly guessing. Now I get some counterplay and I'm hitting this pawn. Yeah, now Sue is playing white here, by the way. Sue is playing white. I'm playing black. You can imagine how that will end, of course. I won't stand a chance against the almighty Sui here. Yeah, you're probably better Sui. I don't doubt that, no. But I think I'm better off than in the game, actually. D5, perhaps. Yeah, maybe you can play D5 and you're better Sui. I don't want to fight with you on this. Looks perfectly playable. I think knight g3 is smarter, yeah. Also here you can see h4 would invite knight f5. Okay, what did I want to show you with this game? I just wanted to show you a good case for this plan of pushing e4. It worked wonders in this game. And if you claim that black is playing in a very bad way, well, look who is playing black, all right? Not just any average player, no? e4. Good case for the e4 plan, gaining space and so on, getting ready to push the pawns. Okay, I wanted to show you one more game before we break for today. To have some democracy in this world, I thought we should see a game where white launches the same plan and black replies in a very good way, okay? So we will enjoy this game from black's perspective. As always, sorry, we are doing Sarana's variation, no? So here we go again. I'm confused. Why are you confused, Riquiz? You're talking about something else. Oh, it's not about, okay. So e3, bishop d6. Yeah, last time we saw Carlsbad play bishop f5, white played f3, speculating with this plan, although the same what's his name? Sarana actually played bishop d3 later. And I told you can also look into this line with knight e2. This one is kind of interesting. There are some nice points with this move that you can sometimes, yeah, how was the idea here? You play like this and you take and you play something like h4. This is also interesting, like in the Caro-Kann, right? A little like in the Caro-Kann. Anyone? Should black play h6 or h5 here? Anyone? Could you give me some kind of motivation? h6 as razor, h5 weakens. Everybody agrees on that? Yeah, in the Caro-Kann you play. Yeah, I know what you mean, razor. Razor is saying in the Caro-Kann, if somebody here plays the Caro-Kann and they play here h4, you're supposed to play h6, no? Nobody plays h5 here. For some reason, that's very bad. I guess in the first place, this pawn gets hit. Although, don't forget that this can be a bad move, right? Anyone? What would happen if we play like that? I'm now doing the really cheap tactics. So you get only 20 seconds for this mission. Let's see. Just to see if you're awake. Eraser, RKDK, and Brian. Aha, you got it. Queen d5. No, then I go knight f4. Okay, just to see if you're awake or you're doing something else. Good work by Dada Apple also. I want to go home. A lot of people. Roger, you got it right. Pop Fisher, Canned King Sam, and so on. Yeah, you know your Caro Can traps. Please go ahead. I want to go home. How do you continue with the black pieces here? Aha, this is a very bad business for white, of course, because suddenly black has a long and very strong move. Please notice the move order you have to take first, right? If somebody wanted to play this, I'm very sorry, but I could play like that, and I don't lose the piece anymore. So, okay. White probably play something else here after e6. You could play c3 maybe, and yeah. I'm not really an expert on this. I can't tell you exactly why is it wrong. I just know it's wrong. Maybe you play knight h3 and you send the knight to f4, something like that. So here you would play h6 instead, of course. You would play h6. However, if you go to the Caro-Kann, the main line, or not the main line, but the advanced Caro-Kann. Anyone, what is more popular, h6 or h5? Anyone? Now it's h5, exactly. For some reason, although you could play h6 also, but then you should probably go this side with the bishop, right? So that you don't run into some trick like this. Yeah, you guys probably know this better. I just know ever since I was a kid, I know this is a dangerous plan that you need to be careful about, that you can have white light square difficulties and so on. But anyway, what people usually play here is the move h5. Interesting, no? Here h5 is supposedly best, and white can play c4 or bishop d3. So why are we talking about this? Well, because we were saying that in this other line, if h4, should we go h6 or h5? I'm still waiting for your answer, guys. Should we play h6 or h5? Yeah, don't play h6. h6 is wrong, if I'm not mistaken. This is wrong. Anyone? What would white play here? Brian, Freya, somebody, Oskit Chest, did you talk today? Duck didn't talk. I need somebody who hasn't talked. So, Duck, you can show us. How will you continue here, Duck, with the white pieces? Why is h6 wrong? Exactly. We start by this, and now look what happened here. So, we cannot do this. Notice, no pawn on e6 here. No pawn on e6 here. Okay, what does that mean? If there is no pawn on e6, anyone who's very clever with strategy, what does it mean? Aha, you're right, chess turnip and chess art, that's completely right. You can just read the chat, Duck, and you will find the best move. f5 is weak. Bravo, Princess Unicorns, you have understood this. So please don't do this, because you will have a headache for the rest of the game. They're gonna put a knight, you know where, right? You know where. Yeah, our friend who is moving here. Duck plays this instantly. And this knight, I can never get rid of it, no, almost, unless I play g6, but then I have weak killer knight, exactly. Trade off the defender and get to f5, exactly, happy pawn. So please don't do this. Computers would play something like this and that probably. What should we do instead? We should play h5. So if this happens in your thematic tournament, maybe I'm the one playing this against you. Please remember, you should go h5. If now I go bishop d3, let's pick somebody here. Yeah, who? Requiz. Requiz, you haven't talked, right? Requiz, how would you play here after bishop d3? Very quickly, Requiz, show your strategic skills. Very, very quickly. I talked. Okay, Chess Turnip. Chess Turnip hasn't talked. We're coming now, Chess Turnip. Please go ahead, Chess Turnip. Thanks, being very generous, Requiz. Okay, go for it, Chess. You break my heart. I will take and give you a bad weakness for the rest of the game. Honestly, don't do this. Don't do this. It's not a good pawn to have there. I'm hitting this pawn. You will suffer for this. I'll send my knights and attack you and so on. So please don't do that. I'm sorry to be so categoric, but Pop Fisher. No, we give him a new chance. Okay, please go ahead. You get the second chance, just Turnip. Second and last chance. If you shouldn't let me take on g6, you should, of course, take. What about knight f5 now? Exactly. Great work, Chess Turnip. You got it. Now it's a different story. You can still play this. White can go for e4 at some point. I forgot to say that. On some occasions, you can also go for e4 in this structure, like that. But usually it doesn't really work now. Usually it's not that powerful. Maybe black would take and give check and castle perhaps, and nothing happens here really. But it's a way you can spice up the game, no? Maybe actually white has some initiative here in this position. I don't know. You would like to play d5 or something like that. Queen a3 could come at some point, maybe. IQP, exactly. On rare occasions, you can go for an IQP. Anyway, back to our game. We are sidetracked here. Bishop d6 was played by Tomaszewski versus Makarian. Bishop d3, castles, knight d2, rook e8, queen d2. You can say that white is evidently going for the f3 and e4 plan. Next week, we will talk about the more traditional setups with knight f3. Okay, bishop e6, simple play by black, and here they played queen e7. So queen e7, they are directing the queen on this diagonal. Anyone, if white plays e4, anyone, can you tell me a good reaction for black? Yeah, next week we will look a little further into this. We're past time. Yeah, I won't hold you up too long for today. Razor says DE and after FE. Anyone, which could be an interesting move for black here? Sui random, I think you got it. Aha, I agree. Brian says B5. Request says C5. Chess art. Where is chess art? We will invite chess art. You have an interesting idea here, chess art. I don't like B5 so much, honestly. I think it's kind of slightly out of place here. I would maybe castle, and if you play B4, I go knight A4, and I try to bring my knight to this square. I think we should hit them on the dark squares instead, right? Exactly, chess art. Good work. C5. This is good to know. Hit them on the dark squares. Exactly. Happy pound. They don't have a bishop on E3 anymore. If D5, I think Tomaszewski was going to bring this bishop where? Chess art. Exactly. And you can get some kind of good knight versus bad bishop scenario. No, you could almost take. Oh, 97 you wanted to play. Yeah, okay. No hard feelings. You can play that also. Now, careful, no? Exactly. Everybody understands? Premature e4 can be met by c5, okay? Can be met by, what are we saying? E4, d takes e4, f takes e4, c5, exactly. This sequence. No, oh, sorry, I miswrote. c5, I'm saying, of course. Yeah, everybody understood this fantastic bishop. Yeah, h3, we can go back with the bishop. And we're basically hoping for something like this, and black is very, very happy. Now, gigantic knight and terrible bishop. So, all right, back to business. Queen e7, castles was played by Makarian, promising young player. And here, Tomaszewski, very experienced grandmaster, he made an interesting choice. He didn't play knight e7. Maybe what he didn't like, I don't know, you could play rook e1, you'll send a knight, you try to push e4. He actually went for the IQP. IQP here? Anyone? How can black go for the IQP? I will quiz you on this. You get only 30 seconds. Mission. Try to get the IQP. Exactly. John Sam, Sui, Brian, Metza, Pop Fisher, I want to go home, Lily, and a lot of other students. You understood this. So we talked about it also, right? When they play f3, they are a little loose on the dark squares. So we can hit them on the dark squares. This plan worked out very well in this game. It's exactly what Yevgeny Tomaszewski played at this point. Okay, everybody got this right. I can't even name all of you, but I'm happy for you that you have seen this. We will ask awesome Owen. Please go ahead, Owen. How would you continue here with the black pieces? Nicole, you already talked. You had the first question today, right? C5, very good moment for C5. If I take on C5, you could, of course, just play like in the game. We can just take back. We have some slight pressure on this square. So now you can see white has to change their mind. Now white needs to switch plan. No, switch plan. Now we switch plan. What do we do now? We forget about e4. We try to work on the weakness and get to an endgame. We need a 0. What's that? I don't know what you mean. White will use endgame focus now. Use, or what can I say? White will play for a blockade on d4, endgame focus, etc. There is a very nice game by who was this player? Matlakov with white, maybe. Matlakov Visach, I think it is. Matlakov versus Visach. You can check this game if you like. Nice game in this opening. Anyway, knight b5, as Sui said, that's exactly what happened, so that black cannot play knight c7. What would happen in that case? Anyone? Just to see if you're awake. Anyone? Of course, Razor. You're right. We would play knight c7 then, and we would pick up the exchange. So that did of course not happen. They played in the game queen b6 instead, Tomaszewski. So white used our plan, knight e4. The next move is very easy for you guys. I will give you only 5 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Chess out Yugoslavian. Everybody got this right. Just common sense. When you have the IQP, exactly. If we have an IQP, knights belong on c3, c6, right? That's what I think, at least. Okay, Chess Crusher, I will choose you then. What should black play here? Of course, we play knight c6, and if they take, you will certainly take back with, yes, simple logic now, like with the pawn and try to get hanging pawns, or if b4, you can go a5 and so on. So, of course, this did not happen in the game. They played rook c1, black played bishop d7, rook c3, and black played here. Yeah, I should ask you for the next move. Anyone? Can I be called next time, please? All right, Professor, if you get the next move, I will call you up, okay? Knight before was not played. Please notice, thanks for showing that move, whoever said this. If you play knight b4, let me come back. If you play knight b4, please notice also in this structure, in the IQP structure, let me see. We will make a little test here. Are smarter than, or often smarter. So, please fill in the blanks, okay? Fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. Knight and bishop. Exactly, happy pawn. Aha. Very often in the IQP structure, the knights are more clever than the bishops. This can be black's worst piece. So you certainly don't need to play bishop b1. You could perfectly play something like a3 instead. I don't know, did you have rook b3, by the way? Nobody told me about that. This looks like white's winning. But okay, let's just say we're not good with tactics. Then we can be good with strategy. We can play a3 here. And we are actually very happy. We will say thank you to black. You traded off your good knight for my not so good bishop, no? And later on, we can hope we get that famous, you know, the endgame, Flor versus Capablanca. You know which endgame is that? Flor versus Capablanca? I think you know it, no? Classical, oh, sorry, Capablanca. Exactly, 1935 Patriots. I think so, at least. Where basically all the pieces fell off and they ended up, yeah, how did they end up? All right, I'll show you quickly. I won't show you the endgame, though. I just want you to know what happened in that game. It was this famous game. This is also something you can practice, no? So try to avoid this endgame with black. It often came to my dream, this game. Oh, really? Happy pawn. You have interesting dreams. So I hope you were dreaming with white's position, because for black it's very boring, but you know how the story goes, right? He did something like this, and he managed to make a draw. Wait for me just one moment, okay? Ah. One moment, please. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, this is a nice endgame for white, and white can certainly try to win this. Gain space on the king side would be my piece of advice. No, try to avoid this. Try to avoid. This is white's dream endgame. No, good knight versus bad bishop. So if we understand this, you also understand why do we not really want to trade off the knight for the bishop, like we were saying. No, I hope everybody sees my point. We are saying that basically in this position that we were talking about, where was this? Around here, right? Somebody said the move knight b4, and we just said that, yeah, like here, for instance, that you could just play, let them take, right? You can play a3, yeah, they can, if they take the pawn, you can probably go rook b1 and trap the queen, right? But in general, you're happy to carry out this trade. No, the knight is stronger than the bishop and so on. Anyway, let's continue now. Yeah, we will soon stop. Yeah, we will soon stop. Okay, no problem about that. Yeah, Nate is probably more punctual than me. Aha, bishop d7 was played in the game. Rook c3, rook e7. Anyone? Why did black play that? Point with rook e7? Double, of course, Brian. So, very natural plan. We're targeting the pawn on e3. This happened in the game. White played bishop b1, probably to clear some space to let the rook protect the pawn. Rook e8, a3 was played by white, some kind of control move. Maybe they want to expand with b4. And here black played a very nice move. Okay, I will quiz you on this, guys. Something about piece improvement. So try to improve one of your pieces here. He did something very interesting here, Tomaszewski. He created an imbalance. Okay, let's see if who can find his fantastic variation. You get 1 minute 30 for this, okay? Okay, so random, you saw this also. Fantastic. Who else was close? Knight a5. Yeah, half a point if you said knight a5. Basically the same idea, no? Knight x d4. I would not trade duck in this position. John Sam, you were extremely close. Aha, very close. Anyone else found this? Yeah, not so simple. Something about the squares supported by the IQP. No, the IQP is supporting usually two squares, but here it's supporting one square. Aha, the square on c4. Who would like to get to c4? Brian, you got it. Excellent. Of course, knights, they really like that square. So what Tomaszewski did here, he managed to change the pawn structure, and he got the queenside pawn majority because he was later taking back with the pawn, right, on c4. We got many other moves here. Knight takes e4. Interesting move, Nicole. Aha, I think I can take and maybe play king h1 now. But I'm not sure. Yeah, could maybe be played. Chess art, you also found it. Excellent. Not so simple, this quiz. Happy pawn, extremely close. Your last move is slightly passive now. There was a more active choice that Tomaszewski went for. So please go ahead, Brian. You can tell us, okay? I think Brian was up before, but no problem. So it's in the book I read. Oh, nice. 95 hitting this square. I guess if you go to the other side, there is always a difference. Now, maybe I could play b3, right? But if we send a knight to the other side, it's more useful now. If I play b3 now, yeah, what might be the difference? Yeah, good question, actually. I don't really have the answer. What would he play next here? Bishop a2. Yeah, he played bishop a2 in the game. Maybe queen can go here, perhaps. Hit his pawn and be a little annoying. While if you send a knight to the other side, possibly if you go here, your queen is being blocked by the old knight or something like that. Yeah, that would be my way of thinking at least. Looks like a nicer route to the weakness now. You would say the more central the route, often, usually the better, no? Usually the better. So anyway, 95 said Brian, and we played here in the game bishop a2. Please continue, Brian. Very nice move here. At first sight, it looks wrong. No, it looks wrong because you say, hey, now white can play e4 unhindered. But what Tomaszewski has noticed is that now he has the queenside pawn majority. Exactly. What a beautiful move. You have to admit that's a pretty move. He's a very strong grandmaster. So if e takes d5, of course, Brian, you had prepared rook takes e2. Crushing now, taking advantage of the pin. While if they take on c4, what was your plan here, Brian? Bishop e5. What a nice, what can you say? Festival, no, pin festival. So many pins in this position that white can't stand all the pressure. I feel like you're winning in this position. I feel so too, Nicole. Aha, whoever said that? Chess art, sorry. So 95 was played in the game. He played in the game. The game is extremely entertaining. He played here rook c2. And next move, I have to question this. Don't tell me the move, Brian. Don't say the move. Don't say the move. I want everybody to find the next move. Strike while the iron is hot. Exactly, Sui, Yugoslavian. I will pick you on this one, Yugoslavian, because you were second. Aha. Razor and just turnip. That's a crazy move. c3, you're just helping me, guys, if you play like that. I take with the pawn right on c3 to support my knight. Bishop a4. Well, I guess I go rook c1 then. Lily and Owen, RKDK, you also found it. Excellent. Some kind of minority attack. Believe it or not, but we're actually doing some kind of minority attack. We are leaving them with a weakness. Please go ahead, Yugoslavian Berserker. You were second here. What did you play? Very nice move. I must say, I really like it now. We are undermining their pawn chain, some kind of minority attack. Obviously, if I take this pawn, I cannot take with a knight, illegal. And if I take like that, of course, you would play here. We're waiting. Exactly. So this was played in the game. He tried here knight c3. Yeah, some of you said here c3. I just wanted to point out that you're just helping me, right? You're letting me stabilize my knight. So he played here knight c3. You could maybe take, but in the game, exactly, he played f4 instead. And then he sent the knight to e3, something like that. Yeah, black was much better and they went on to win, but I don't want to hold you up anymore. What I wanted you to notice here in the first place is that once you get to this position, it can actually be a very practical choice to play here after white just played here f3, queen e7, and castles, just to see if we learned our lesson here. What did black play here? You get only 15 seconds. Aha, you're right, Yugoslavian patriots, Lily, and everyone else who found this. Aha, in this way we accept the IQP, but we get some kind of activity in the position now. That could be very useful to keep in mind. This plan. So please tell us, Fianchetto. Oh, Fianchetto has left already. Then please tell us, Freya. You can tell us, Freya, what would you play here with the black pieces? You have the last word today. Aha, when they play f3, we play c5. And black got some nice activity in this position. Please remember his nice rook maneuver also, right? If you remember what I mean. when they got to this position. If I quiz you for the next move here by the Grandmaster, that will be our last quiz today, by the way. This should be our last quiz. How did the Grandmaster finish off development? You went too fast, the racer in Yugoslavian. Yeah, he first improved the rooks. Sui, Nicole, Happy Pawn, Ararat, Brian, Requis. Aha. First, we improve all our pieces, good old classical school, and then we strike in the center. So that's right, RKDK, unicorns, and so on. You can tell us, Ararat, you have the last word for today. Yeah, that's certainly the last word. So, simple strategy, working on their main weakness. Rook e7, and after bishop e1, Black played here the move Rook e8. All right, guys. Thanks everybody who attended. We will continue next week with more things about the Carlsbad structure. Thanks to USCS and Greg Shahadi. Thanks to chess.com. Thanks to Chessable Classroom. Great place to learn chess online. Thanks also to Chess Dojo and Kostya. All right, guys. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.